Hey friends, welcome to Art School Live. I'm your host today, thanks to Eric Rhodes. He gave me a call and asked me to host for him while he's traveling. My name is Debra Huse. I'm in Southern California in my studio. I'm a plein air painter and I am so excited to be here today. This is my last day of the week. I have some special things planned for you. And my very special guest today is Scott Hamill. Hi, Scott. Welcome.
Hi, Debra. How are you?
Great. I'm so happy to have you here. I know you've been out painting. So I'm happy to have you here with us today.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. I can't wait. It's going to be fun.
Tell us a little bit about what you're going to do.
So today I thought with the time we have, I would give folks a little insight into my process of painting the ocean and kind of specifically painting a wave and how a wave moves and things to look for when you're at the seashore with your feet in the sand, and talking a little bit about how to design a wave in a painting. And obviously I won't be able to finish the painting, but it'll give you a good idea of block in, and we can talk about finished stuff later.
Super. That sounds so fun because waves are complicated. So I have a special surprise for you today, Scott. I brought on a special guest to introduce you today. I'd like to welcome 𝗕𝗂𝗶𝗶𝗏.
Oh,
good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing great, Debra.
Good. So I asked Mark to do the special introduction that's very similar to this guy named 𝗕𝗂𝗶𝗶𝗏 that used to introduce the boxing matches in Las Vegas.
Oh, no.
And so special for Mark Hamill today, we have
Scott Hamill.
Scott Hamill today.
Yeah.
Thank you. Star Wars too. Yeah. Okay. So anyways, 𝗕𝗂𝗶𝗏𝗏 is going to take it away. Mark, intro.
Now, for the thousands in attendance and the millions around the world, ladies and gentlemen, from New Zealand and Scotts Valley, California, it's Scott Hamill. Let's get ready to scumble!
It's Art School Live with Eric Rhodes. Now, here's your host, Eric Rhodes.
Hey, I hope you love that intro. Was that fun or what? That's my acting friend, 𝗕𝗂𝗶𝗏𝗏. He was on Tuesday. So if you missed his show, you got to be sure and check it out on YouTube. And I want to talk a little bit about Scott Hamill, our special guest today. He is an award-winning plein air painter, and he paints in New Zealand a lot because he's got a place there. How cool is that? He's known for his luminous landscapes and expressive brushwork. He's been painting for over 15 years professionally and capturing the fleeting beauty of the natural world with a focus on light, atmosphere, and place. Scott's work has been featured in Plein Air magazine and recognized in national exhibitions, most recently receiving the Modern Impressionist Magazine Award of Excellence at the California Art Club Gold Medal exhibit. That is fantastic. Wow. So Scott enjoys sharing his painting experience and techniques and teaches several plein air painting workshops in the U.S. and internationally, like New Zealand. His instructional workshop video is distributed by Streamline Publishing. We'll give you that link a little later on. And I'd like to welcome Scott Hamill. Hi, Scott. And Scott Hamill has got a mute button on. Hey, Scott, you have to unmute yourself, buddy. All right. So Scott's going to be doing some wonderful waves for us today. He paints at the ocean all the time. And I love, love, love his waves and his water paintings. And you've probably seen a bunch of his stuff on Instagram. And, as soon as he gets his microphone back on, he'll pop back on the screen and start to do all of our beautiful waves. So in the meantime, we need to think about going to visit Scott in New Zealand. I think that would be really fun. Now here he is. You're back.
Oh my gosh. Wow, that was crazy. Sorry about that.
That's all right. No worries. Okay. That's why we like it live, babe.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can see my canvas.
Yes.
Yes, awesome. That was weird. Okay, so yeah, let's just jump right in. So this is going to be sort of the way that I approach an ocean scene while I'm standing on the beach or on the cliffs above the sea, and really get excited when this is when all the waves are breaking and we get a big swell here up in the Central California coast. So I paint outside very sort of freely and loosely, and I like to really move my body around and use big brushes and big brush strokes in the beginning, and then I kind of slow down and kind of render some more drawing and try to clean things up toward the end. But I did want to show you just quickly how waves can be used in seascapes as sort of an element, but not necessarily the entire painting. Most of the time I have waves that are sort of part of the scene, but not necessarily the entire scene. Okay, so it's just a sense of place, a feeling that you get when you're standing there, and that's sort of what I'm trying to convey in my plein air work. But you can see here that the waves are part of it. We're at the ocean, but we also are looking at the reflections of the puddles and the shapes of the rocks.
Beautiful.
So that's kind of what I do when I'm at the ocean, is I look how to give the viewer a sense of what I was feeling at the time. But today what I'm going to do is actually try to paint a wave fairly quickly, and I'm just going to go ahead and get into it. This is a 𝗕𝗏 plywood that I've double or triple primed with clear gesso and toned. But so I'm just going to kind of get into this. Can you see the reference up there yet?
No, I haven't seen the reference yet, but I think
Okay.
Omdine's going to add it in a minute.
Okay, so it's basically a wave that's sort of, you see it? Oh yeah, perfect. Yep. Okay, great. So it's a wave that's sort of breaking in multiple places. And one thing about designing a breaking wave is that, here's my horizon line, it's going to be pretty high, is that you can kind of, first of all, I guess we should talk about how do you simplify something like this? How do you stand at the ocean and you see all these waves breaking and all this movement,
right?
And, how do you decide on what to paint? And
exactly,
I think it's important to sit for a while and just get your beach chair out or your towel, or just sit on the sand or wherever you are, and just sort of have a look at what is happening. And sometimes it's a really good idea just to go down. If you don't have the ocean near you, then there's lots of videos online of the ocean breaking. Like I know YouTube has videos of the ocean. You can, if you live near the ocean, just go down there and have a look and see what's going on. Try to understand the movement and the shapes of what's happening. Generally, what you're going to have when you paint an ocean wave is you're going to see waves come in sets of 3 to 5 or so. So don't get scared if you're trying to see one and it goes away, because there'll be plenty throughout the day that are very similar in shape and the way that they're moving. But first I would study the ocean, whether it's live sitting in front of it or on a video or photos, just to see how it's working. Today we have the luxury of a still photo, so it's going to be pretty easy to see what's going on. But outside it's a little more difficult, but it's also much more exciting, right? I mean, then that's where your brushwork's really going to go. But you do need to decide on a design. Okay,
that's what I want to ask you a question, Scott.
Yeah.
So when you're out there and those wave after wave are rolling in, and you're like, oh, I love that one. Oh, I love that one. And then you start on an idea, and then another one comes in that is the one. And you're like, oh, now what do I do? So what do you do? How do you like to take a picture and look at your phone, or how do you like to?
I'll take a photo. I'll look at what's happening. I do need you need to decide on a design. You need to decide on where you're going to stop that wave action, right? So once you sort of decide on that, then don't be it's just almost like chasing the light. We don't want to chase the light if if we're starting on a foggy day and the sun comes out, we can't really change the painting because all of our values are set on that foggy day. So it's sort of similar with wave paintings, at least for me, is that once I've sort of decided on how this wave is breaking and how I'm going to capture the foam and sort of have designed the dark and light shapes, I sort of stick to that, even if a big wave comes in, it's really something different. I mean, it's almost kind of can, under each circumstance, you might find that that you can change it. But I would suggest that trying to stick to your original plan is probably the best idea at first.
That,
Well,
and
so
then
just
capturing the light too. Can't wait to hear about how you like to capture the light on the foam and stuff like that.
yeah,
Sun
that's
and
the good
shadow.
part. Yeah, so just one thing that I would suggest when you're out, if you're painting the ocean, it's a good idea to make sort of perspective lines, and decide on sort of maybe a vanishing point, being out here. And sort of what happens with the wave is the water in the foreground, the water in front of the wave is drawn up into the wave and then curls over and breaks. Okay. So whatever's in front of the wave is pulling up, and then the wave is breaking. Okay. So you'll see lots of foam in the wave. You'll see directional lines, sort of like a cylinder. Okay. And this is depending on, which position, if you're looking down the wave or down the beach at the waves or right in front. So this photo is sort of taken, I'm almost just off to the left of this breaking wave. Okay. So these perspective lines give you a sense of what's happening in the foreground as well. Okay.
Yeah, the rushing water. So that's very cool. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
And
gives
then
you
tell
sort
me
of like, Mhm.
where's your sunlight in this one?
My sunlight is sort of overhead. You can see in the shadow of the image that the sun is sort of overhead. Probably it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's going
Oh, okay.
west. It's gonna. I will probably accentuate that, make it a little later in the day to give you more of a shadow shape in here. So when you're talking about waves and dark and light, whenever we talk about painting anything, we have dark and light shapes that are connected and create an interesting design of dark and light. And in waves, generally the waves. The wave body, this, is darkest. And you can see down at the base of this wave here, it's quite dark. Okay, it's because there's even moments just underneath this that are probably the darkest dark is right in here. It's hard for you to see this drawing probably, but this is the other breaking wave part.
Okay. It's good.
And that is because the base of the wave is thicker. Okay, and as the wave pulls up, it thins out, and we call this the lip. Okay, the lip of the wave that pulls over and breaks. We call that the lip, and that's quite thin. And you can see in the reference that it's sort of almost translucent. You can see through it. And then the foam in shadow is a dark. And the wave behind it, I'm not going to focus on that wave behind it. That's a bit distracting. I try to knock out that white of the foam behind it in Photoshop, but
Yeah.
I'm not very good at that. So just put your finger over that. You can see that what I'm going to paint if you just put your finger over that white
Yeah.
of the wave in the background. So the darks are the base of the wave. The wave itself, it just depends on where you are and the color of the water. But basically, the base of the wave is dark, and if you can keep it dark at the end of the painting, sort of reestablish that, you'll get that sense of thick at the base, thinning as it comes up to the lip, and then the sun can come from behind that and illuminate that. Okay.
Nice.
Great. Okay. So yeah, that's a very simple, kind of block in there. Sometimes foam in the foreground can also sort of be a nice lead in too. So you can sometimes do something like this where the foam is bringing you sort of up and in.
Right.
Is another good sort of technique to draw the eye. We're always looking for leading lines or
Yeah. So
ways
Scott,
to get into the painting. Yeah.
when you're on location, and now you've told us that you pick a design and sometimes you might even take a picture of it. And then
Yeah, for
I
sure.
love the perspective and the foreground foam though. You design that specifically for the wave and the painting, don't you?
Yes. A lot of this, what I'm doing. So when I paint, no matter what it is, I always give myself the permission to move things and to play. So I may have an idea of what I want to do and what I want the painting to look like as I start. I think that's very important. But I
Yeah.
think it's also important, at least for me, to allow myself the freedom to change things, to make it a painting. It's not a picture. I want this to express something. I want people to feel something when they look at it. So I also, I have more fun and good things happen when I'm just, painting. And sometimes when
Yeah.
you're painting and finally you cover the canvas and you go, oh, that's not what I expected, but that's the creativity that we're really looking for, right? I mean, we want
Yeah,
that
right.
that feeling of of that. So I'm
Sometimes the
gonna
painting just leads you in a whole new direction. I mean, it's very interesting.
absolutely, absolutely. Especially when you're outside, consider it, more of a play and exciting and a practice and sketching, and take the pressure off of yourself. You don't have to come away with a painting that's going to go in a frame. I mean, you might have a good start. You may have a painting that's, an award-winning painting, but just allow yourself to sort of lower your expectations, just enjoy the process, and you'll learn a lot more when you're feeling good and just responding to what you see. I'm going to just start painting. So when I paint from my darkest darks to my lightest lights. Okay. And so I've just mixed up some ultramarine deep and a little bit of gold ochre creates sort of this nice sort of earthy tone. And I'm just squinting
Ultramarine deep. Okay. And ochre.
Ultramarine and
everybody wants to
gold
know all the
ochre.
colors. Yeah.
Huh?
Everybody always wants to know all the colors. So that ultramarine deep is something that Kathleen was using this week. Interesting. And same with the golden ochre. So that's a beautiful green.
Yeah, it makes a beautiful sort of gray green. Again, I'm just squinting at the scene. I'm looking for the darkest darks. And I'm just trying to put them on. I've got a big number 12 flat brush. Nice. And these, starting big like this and starting loose like this, allows me to kind of finish a little looser. I like to look at work that's sort of rough and there's some darks in here, a few darks, and a little bit more abstract. And you can have this feeling of looseness and roughness in the beginning of a painting, and you can stop, or you can continue, and you can make it a photorealistic painting if you want, based on whatever you want to do. I'm keeping it very, the longer you work, I'm keeping it very thin at this point. Sometimes I'm even touching my terps just to get it to move a little bit better. Squinting again. Okay, so I think that's probably most of where my dark moments are going to be. And so I'm going to look for my next mid value, and I see some stuff as we come up the wave. Again, we're talking about, things getting a little more translucent, transparent. Mm-hmm. And so I've just added white to that mixture, and that actually, worked. It gave me a nice, beautiful sort of a emerald color. I'm going to get some of that in here. I like to touch my canvas all over with whatever's on my brush. I don't. I think getting these certain colors in just one area makes it a little awkward. So as you're painting,
that's interesting.
Just as you're painting, touch different areas of your painting. Another thing is, if you're mixing up a color, you're going for a color and you don't get it quite yet, but you make another color that's beautiful in mixing up that color you're going for, but you have this beautiful color. Find a place on your canvas for that beautiful color, even if it's not the one you were looking for. Okay. Okay.
That's good advice. I like that.
Yeah. So my next, so also part of my, mid value, I guess, colors you would say, is this beautiful violet that happens in the shadowed foam. And so we all know that shadows receive illumination somewhere, somehow. And isn't that a beautiful color? Pow.
Wow, love it.
That's ultramarine deep and a touch of permanent rose, which is a quinacridone rose, to make this beautiful, beautiful, clean violet. And that's in the shadow of the foam, because the foam is getting illuminated by something. It's not getting any direct sun, but it's illuminated by the sky. And the sky above us today is quite blue. So that to me is just a beautiful relationship between the foam that's in shadow and the warm lit sunlit foam. Oh, it's just, that's one of the big kicks I get out of painting outside. Now within this shape, this is something that's important. I'm going to darken this value a little bit, because as the foam hits the ocean below it, it explodes out towards us, and then that creates a roundness of that foam bundle or bunch. And then so underneath there's just this moment a little bit darker, and that gives you the sense of that having some form. Okay.
Super. Again, looks great.
Yeah, this is a block in, and I hope I can get pretty far. We might be able to make sense of this, but I'm also seeing that there's an option for a little bit of a breaking wave here. So we might be able to put some lit foam on top of that, and that'll sort of help us get out into the main wave. Okay.
You've got plenty of time. No worries.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So that foam is one of my I should say that the reason I paint from dark to light is because the thing that's attracted me to a scene is generally the light and dark shapes and how they relate to each other. And so that sort of that design is already kind of in my mind, that's kind of what made me say wow. And so I want to make sure that I get those darks in before the sun moves and everything changes. So that's a good way to do it, by locking in the dark shadows first, and then those darks that they can change. The sun can move and the darks can change, get smaller usually. And
so you're still working with your big brush.
Yeah, big brush. We'll probably do this most of the time.
Good. Cool.
Just sort of squinting down, looking for these changes of value and temperature. This is quite a dark. I love that. We're already starting to sense a little bit of a form of this wave now. It's just a bit of dark, tiny bit. The lip in the photo is a little bit thick, and that's kind of interesting.
So Scott, we do have people from all over the country. I mean, wait, all over the world.
The world?
Yes, France,
nice.
Canada,
hello, world.
All over. I mean, it's amazing.
Oh,
and they're loving what you're doing with the big brush and the rich green and the beautiful violet on the wave.
Oh, awesome. Canada. I lived in Edmonton for a few years when I was a wee lad. Those are cold winters. Yeah, and then got some history in Toronto, and my mom lived in Toronto, just outside, and a little bit in Parry Sound. You Canadians know Parry Sound. It's a cottage country up in the
neat
Great Lakes.
This is Diane Scott from Ontario.
Ontario. Well, she'll know Georgian Bay, and I remember. That's a good spot. I love that area.
All the way from Pacific Northwest to New York and Saskatchewan, and oh my gosh.
Sweet.
I mean, France too. I love that.
Well, thanks for joining. That's cool.
Yeah. And Indiana. Got another Hoosier in town. All right.
Another Hoosier. Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay. So, boy, we could really see that light coming through that wave now.
Beautiful.
And I'm just going to put a little bit of this around. Let your brush dance. I mean, this is so fun.
It is.
It's one of the most fun things about painting outside is reacting and letting the brush move like you're feeling, right?
Right.
And then hey, it's not. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing. It comes through in the painting. Your joy of the brushwork and everything comes through in the painting. Makes it much more fun to purchase.
Yeah, and it's not like every brush stroke is going to be in the right place. But do you see how thin this is? Like this is not textural. There's no impasto. That's a beautiful brush stroke there. So I can paint over top of this, and so I can change things. Sometimes when you get in close here, you get some sand. That's roiled up and kind of builds up in the mixture in here. So you can add a little gold ochre, easy way to do that. And then that adds a little bit of interest in the foreground as well.
So your thin part of your wave, Scott, is that made from the same dark mixture, or do you have some Viridian on your palette, or how do you like to do that?
I just increased the value of the paint, the puddle. So I start with sort of a mother color, a mother puddle, and I just continue to shift that and increase the value, change the temperature. If it gets to the point where this brush is not picking up clean color, or there's too much pigment in my mixtures, I'll switch brushes. And so typically especially when I go from a dark or mid value to a light, I usually will pick up a new brush, because you can always clean your brush, but if you hold on to the brush for too long and you're into your lights or your really clean mid
Yeah.
values or your sky, you're gonna run into a bit of trouble.
Yeah, and it's
trying
handy to
keep
have a
that
couple
clean.
of brushes working, like the dark one and the lighter value one, so you can, because
Yeah,
sometimes when you're painting a wave, you don't want to stop and clean your brush. You're in a big rush to
right.
capture it.
Exactly. So I'm just going to get this relationship with the sky. So typically when I'm outside, I mean, the sky is influencing everything in the scene, right? So it's a good idea to sort of, I generally actually paint my sky toward the end, but I try to remember what the sky looked like. Generally, I'm painting sort of late afternoon, and so the sky doesn't change a whole lot by the time I'm at the end of the painting. And but it is a good idea to sort of get that sky in early as well. So I'm just going to grab a new brush, nice
Yes,
and
so I'm
clean.
dying to know if you're going to throw some quinacridone, some pinkish into it to complement your green.
Yeah, well, my plan is right now, and so
What is
I'm
your
sort
plan?
of my plan is I'm sort of a bit of a slave to the sky that I see, only because I do really feel like the sky, influences everything that it's on, and so
Uh-huh.
I'm not a good enough colorist to I'm just thinning with a little bit of liquid at this point. I don't know why, but I just grabbed it. Thought I'd tell you. I use liquid outside, and I like the way that, especially toward the end of the painting, it's not blue enough. So
So what
I guess,
color do you
yeah,
have going there?
this is actually a tad bit of 𝗕𝗏 and a tad bit of Windsor blue, which is
Okay.
Windsor blue is just a red shade. It's a man-made phthalo, so be careful. If I were
Yeah.
you, if you're a beginner, play with it in the studio, but be aware that it will get out of control real quick.
So
I
true.
just recently started using this transparent gesso on board, and I'm not entirely sure I love it, because
Maybe
it's
before you started?
yeah, in the last couple of months I've just been making panels with the transparent gesso, because I think it gives you just that beautiful warm tone of the wood underneath. So you see here how I'm softening that. See the effect that happens when you soften that horizon line?
Nice.
Your eye drops
Beautiful.
right back in. So when you're painting at the coast, or you're painting a coastal scene, please think about softening the horizon, because it pushes it way back. Okay. The other thing to think about when you're painting at the ocean is that you have sorry, I'm thinking about what I'm mixing right now. You have oh, the ocean in the distance is lighter in value than the ocean in the foreground. Okay, so in the distance, we're looking at the reflection of the sky, which is going to lighten all that stuff back there. And as we look into the ocean and down into it, we have less of a reflection of the sky. We can see through the surface of the water, and so that we get darker moments, and sometimes even warmer moments if you can really see the bottom.
Oh, for sure.
So oftentimes you'll see painters that haven't really studied the ocean, and you'll see that it's the same value in the foreground as it is in the background, and it sort of stands up like a wall. So just be careful
Yes.
of that.
Yeah. So even if you think you see it that way, you need to have the knowledge to tone down that background, take it into the
Yeah,
distance. And then
yeah,
sometimes, Scott, how you see the horizon and it's like clear as a bell, straight, and it's even darker out there at the edge of the sky
yes,
sometimes.
yes. And
You know?
actually in this, I'm going to lighten that a little bit just to show you the effect. But even in this ref, uh, the horizon is a bit darker, so it does happen, obviously, and you may want to sort of paint what you see and whatnot, but do keep really observing all this stuff. That's the beauty of being a plein air painter, is that we are outside, and the great marine painter, gosh, I just spaced his name. I'll get it. Anyway, there's a guy that in England who just John Stobart. Actually, Eric gave him a Lifetime Achievement Award at one of the
He
conventions.
Yeah.
Yeah, John Stobart. He has a series on YouTube that was narrated by Walter Cronkite. And I think it was in the late
No
70s or
way.
early 80s.
Wow.
Anyway, wonderful chap. And he always says, you know, the beauty of painting outside is that if you have a question, all you have to do is look up. The answer is right in front of you. And it's so true that we have that benefit being plein air painters, that we can really just look at our scene and it'll tell us what's going on. Okay, so I'm going to keep this pretty rough back here, and I'm going to go ahead and start working on the foreground.
But Scott, by softening that distance behind the wave really lets you focus on the wave in your painting. You know, it really brings it, gives it strength.
Yeah, it's there's information you've suggested, but now we're going to get into this focal point, and so we can that stuff is just supporting what we're doing here. I always say it's like the Rolling Stones. You know, Mick Jagger has to be singing. If Mick's not, you're not hearing Mick, and you're hearing Keith over here and what's his face over here, then before you know it, you're not gonna know who to listen to. So let Mick be the lead singer over here, and Keith will back him up, and Moon will be over here, whatnot. So that's really important to remember that stuff. Okay, so I'm just gonna get got a bit smaller brush because that's all I have next to me, but I'm just gonna get some really clean white and find an area on my canvas that's pretty clean, because I want to see what my lightest light looks against these values. So
yeah, so what are you going to make that out of? We're dying to know.
I've touched my warm yellow, which is a cad yellow pale. It's got a bit of warmth to it compared to my cad lemon, and I've just touched the permanent rose just a little bit to make it sort of a peachy sort of light color. And I want to get this on because, and it might not be time yet, but it's okay to put your lightest light on your canvas early if you're having trouble judging your values, because if you don't have your white on there, you're just not going to be able to understand if the other values are falling into place. And with that on there, we'll play with that. I'm going to go ahead and continue to sort of get this on in a painterly way. Now that's picked up pigment.
Yes.
You see that?
Yep.
So that pigment is going to destroy my mixture down here. And I'm going to start making muddy color. So I'm grabbing a paper towel. I'm getting that pigment off. Okay. Then I'm digging back into my warm white, squinting down at the scene, trying to see where those suggestions of so I picked that up.
Clean that brush. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you that and point that out for our viewers. See that you're setting that on with a light touch on top of the other colors.
Very light.
I can also pick up.
Yeah, I can also mix a little medium in there, and that'll help it sort of lay down on top, see? And I picked up just a little bit, so you can sort of lubricate those highlights. There's a ton of this in here, and I'm going to let the pigment come through here because it's not pure. See, I'm letting the brush do a lot of the work.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you like the mixture because it's not pure white anyhow, so you're wanting to
exactly so that's actually working to create just some suggestion of some of that foam in the foreground. And you guys who are looking at the I almost was going to ask to have the reference removed at some point, because at some point you have the canvas covered, you have the idea, the painting might be coming together, and if you don't look at the scene as often, okay? When you get into trouble, of course, look up at the scene, but now you're creating a painting. And so this is about what you want and not so much what nature is giving you. And so, but for folks who are looking at this reference, I'm not ever going to do I'm not the type of painter that's going to come in with a tiny little brush and try to get every little bubble and get really, no, I don't like that. I like this. I like, let's go.
Bold.
So that the placement of this foam is going to change. I'm going to soften edges, but I've just sort of placed the foam where I see the lightest light. I'm just trying to get some idea. So the other thing is the light is coming down. If you look at the reference, the light is coming down this way, and it's catching the tops of this foam and the tops of this and this, but it's casting a shadow in front of the wave.
Nice.
This is not as apparent because actually if you look at the foam to the left where it's breaking here, normally that I would like to have a reference that is casting a shadow further in the foreground, so the light would be lower in the sky. You can sort of
Mhm.
see that over on this side. You see that shadow in front here. So if you look here at the reference, actually, let's go back over here, right in here at the focal point. We're going to make this our focal point. Do you see the foam that's lit here?
Yeah.
I'll try to
Beautiful.
get some of that. So there's some foam
Ooh.
that's lit here, and it goes into shadow as it comes up. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a nice way. I'm going to just mix up some color. That's a nice way to, again, go from light into shadow. So I'm just going to add.
So did you go
little.
back to your
Yeah, I went.
𝗕𝗂𝗶𝗹𝗶
Yeah, I did. I went back to my
pile?
my cool
Your
foam and shadow pile.
foam. Yeah.
Yeah, so this guy here is going to be coming up. I'll put a little bit more in here. I can see that there's a little.
So Scott, you like all long flats that it does look like also.
Yeah, I'm a big long flat guy. I like the stuff that can do.
Yeah, me too.
That's a little light for me. I'm going to darken that up a bit here and there. Always alter your pile, okay? You know, the thing about, you know, even within this, there could be a darker moment. I mean, just within here, we talked about a lighter and a darker, you know, moment. That's going to create interest, okay? Warm and cool. We can have even within some of these foam shapes, we can have a little warmer moment. Watch what happens when you get just a little warmer moment in there. That cool becomes even cooler, okay? So within each of the shapes in your painting, see the warms, the cools, and this big shape, we have some cools and warms, value shifts. That creates interest, and people want to see interesting things, okay?
That's
All right.
true. Hey, just so you know, I have about 5-7 minutes.
Oh, really?
Something like that.
Woo.
Yeah.
Okay, crikey. All right, so I'm gonna go.
Time flew by.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna get sort of some kind of real rough. So my brush stroke is going in the direction of the breaking wave right here. Okay, do you see that? That
Yep.
gives us an idea of the direction of that wave. Okay, I'm just going to reestablish some of these colors in the wave. Boy, it's real rough, but we're getting the idea.
Yes.
So the darkest dark. If I'm gonna start working a little bit more in my focal point. The darkest dark is going to be at the base of this wave in this area because it's sucking up, okay?
And it shows off your focal point. So your focal point is kind of to the right. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. And then, you know, everybody wants to see that really beautiful pop of color through that translucent. I'm going to make sure, I'm going to try to get that color pretty close at the lip of the wave with that sunshine coming through the back. It's just so beautiful, just up in here. Might be a little bit, 5 to 7 minutes. We got this.
You're doing great.
So we're trying to get realism through a very impressionistic application of paint. I think we'll all agree that one of the greatest compliments is when someone in the background comes up. I'm just going to touch and soften. When someone in the background comes up and says, oh my God, that looks like a photo. And they're, you know, 20, 30 feet back. And then they come up close and they say, oh, it doesn't look like, you know, and they sometimes feel embarrassed. But I say, oh, that's a compliment. Thank you so much. I want this to fall apart. I want it to read from afar. When you open that gallery door, I want you to look at my design and I want you to look at my painting and I want you to feel the illusion of reality. And that's when, you know, you've gotten something real close.
Yeah, because listen, you are working really hard and fast, and we want to be able to see that in your painting. I mean, that's the action of the water and the excitement of the day. It's so beautiful. So yeah, it comes through in your brushwork. Super.
Yeah. So now I'll just because I don't have much time left, I'll go ahead and jump to the next phase. And that's basically you're going to get a kind of a clean, dry brush. And I want to create movement. Actually, I do just want to get a little bit more pop of color in the foreground here. So that's sort of balancing, okay? We're balancing, we're getting the eye to see where our eye goes in this painting, and we want it to go to that lower left-hand corner too, okay? All right, very rough. But basically what I'm going to do now is I would come in with a sort of a clean, dry brush, and I want to create softened edges and create motion.
So you keep cleaning your brush each time.
Yes,
I want to make sure
totally.
everybody sees that.
Yeah, because this is my focal point, I'm okay with this hard edge, this light against dark. I think that's going to draw the eye, okay? But I'm seeing this wind is pushing some of this foam, and it's breaking, just touching, not everywhere.
I love it when you say touching, you get real quiet. It's really funny. You do that with your finger too, like just touch it real soft.
Yeah,
Yes, you really explain how you're feeling when you're doing it. You know, it's cool.
I love to teach. I love to talk about my process when I do demos and in workshops. I really love to try to figure out and tell people what I'm thinking too. You know.
Yes, I appreciate that. Everybody appreciates that.
Just softening through here, focal point. That I'm okay with that. Wow, that's very dramatic. Okay, this is sand now. That lovely tone of the canvas has created that to be sand.
Yeah.
Now, if you wanted to bring the eye, beyond here, you could just suggest, a little bit of that. You can cut in. Here's another thing. You can cut in. Remember negative space? I remember the first time I painted a VW bug, I was really concerned about drawing the bug just right. Then I started painting what was behind the VW bug, and I realized, oh my gosh, I can do most of my drawing by using the negative shape behind it to fit back into it. And that was lovely. That was a really kind of an eye-opening.
It's fun to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Negative cut in there.
All right, guys. Well, maybe I'll finish this and post it online. Are we doing okay on time, or should we?
Yeah, you still have a little time if you want to stumble some more. You're welcome.
I'll keep going.
Carry on.
Keep going.
Yeah.
See, I'm sort of slowing down, and you kind of start making decisions now as to what the painting needs. Maybe your brush strokes are becoming a little bit more deliberate. You start drawing a little bit more. There's a little bit of sky reflection in this foreground, which I think might help. A little bit of interest there. See? Isn't that fun? Whee! Okay, and step back. Always step back from your paintings when you're outside to see how it's reading from afar. See what the design looks like, okay? And that'll be helpful to make changes. So that I think for the class, that's probably enough info.
Yeah, sure.
My wave got really big compared to
it's strong and it's bold. It's really I love how it's so simplified that it's a great learning tool to see the big shape, and you can feel the wave rolling over, and you can see the form of the foam and the form of the wave. And I love your very deliberate but loose brush strokes in the foreground are really exciting to lead you in. And it's beautiful.
Yeah. So that's
and some thick, juicy paint.
Yeah. And we're not even getting into the thick part yet.
Really?
Well, I mean, eventually we're going to want to have some thick bits in that foreground, in that that area, that thingy there, whatever you call it, focal point.
Okay, super. Wow.
Okay.
That's beautiful. Really,
this has been really fun. I'm glad you had a good time. I had a good time.
Yes.
What else is new? Are you going to be at Laguna? Of course you are.
Yes.
Can't
So we'll see you at the Laguna Plein Air event is coming up, friends. If you want to tune in, it starts next weekend, and then that goes through the week. We've got 30 artists from all over the country, top painters coming to participate, and it's a lot of pressure. And it's in my backyard, but I'm always looking for something new to paint, and so it'll be a lot of fun. Hopefully, we can team up, maybe go painting one day.
Yeah, I love it. My first year was last year. I was so excited to be invited back, and looking forward to my seeing everybody and just Yeah, Laguna is just a beautiful place to paint. Super inspirational. So
It
it'll be fun.
is. Is it too hard for you to turn your camera around for us to see you or
No.
see your studio even while you're turning it, which is cool.
Oh, studio is
look
an
at that.
absolute mess. Look at this mess.
Oh, I love that.
You
Yeah,
like
we want to
that?
see your palette. Yeah.
There's my
And your
palette.
colors. Do you want to tell us your colors
Sure.
you usually use?
Sure.
Okay.
𝗕𝗂𝗏. These are Winsor Newton colors, except for my Rembrandt Ultramarine Dark. So 𝗕𝗏𝗏, Winsor Newton, 𝗕𝗂𝗶𝗹𝗱, gold ochre. I like gold ochre. One of my mentors, John Crump from New Zealand, look him up if you don't know John's work, showed me one day when I had yellow ochre on the palette. He said, "Why are you using that messy, muddy color?" And I said, "Well," and he said, "Well, look at this." And so he showed me his gold ochre with white compared to a yellow ochre with white, and gold ochre was much cleaner and more powerful. And so you can always muddy up gold ochre to make yellow ochre, or gray it, I should say.
Yeah.
But you can't get the powerful, clean gold out of that. And it's great for, like, we were just back in Jackson Hole, and there were all these dry grasses and different sages.
Oh, perfect.
CAD orange. This is a CAD medium. And this is a permanent rose, which is a quinacridone rose, very powerful man-made color. Instead of alizarin crimson, you can really pop violets. You can almost just see right there that beautiful, clean color. That just ultramarine deep by this Rembrandt, and then this is the Winsor Newton Winsor blue red shade. Very powerful. Be careful with that, but it's incredible. But look at all this beautiful color. This is just
I love
exactly what you want your palette to look like after you've painted at the ocean. You can almost see the ocean in that, can't you?
That's gorgeous.
Really.
And did you say you have some medium there? What's the medium? So
yeah, that's my liquid. That's my liquid. My my liquid original that I like to use. I really like that with this is my water. It's not gin.
Oh, sure.
I like that with traveling because it makes everything dry pretty quickly. And we just got back from.
Oh, there you go.
Granite Group is up.
Look at that.
Up in.
Where were you? No, slow down a little bit.
Okay, sorry. This one's cool. We were.
You're so funny.
It was stormy, and the colors
was
magnificent. Yeah, and
beautiful.
Here's another seascape. Can kind of see these. This is sort of the way I like to use waves, is sort of within the scene. This is my coastline here in Santa Cruz.
Oh, nice.
So it's just, the wave's an element. It's a dark, it's there.
Oh, look at that beautiful wave.
It needs to be a breaking wave. It can't be. One of the things that I guess bugs me is, and I feel like if some of these painters that are painting the ocean would just spend a little more time understanding the way the ocean moves and the way waves break and try to render them a little more realistically, you'd get a little bit better work. But anyway, that's my mess. Okay. Oh, here's a cool wave. Oh, this one's cool. This was a tough painting, but there was a spotlight happening in the distance.
Oh, fun.
All that aspen was in light. This is a real rough sort of, but I went after that
love
one.
that one.
Look at that in there.
One. Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So from back here.
Look at the warmth you put into that big splash.
Yeah. Yeah. See how warm that is? It might be my lights too, but see how it sort of reads sort of realistically, but then when you get in, it's just absolute.
Oh, look at that thick paint, friends. That is so cool.
So cool.
Gotta love that.
Hey, thanks everybody for joining me. I'm honored you showed up for this, and
thank you, Scott. We loved having you here today, and oh my God, it was so fun hanging out together. And we lost you again though. Gosh, we've had so much fun with Scott today. It was wonderful, and I hate for this to be my last hosting day, but hopefully I'll be back soon. It's been so fun to be here with all of you from across the world. Thank you for coming in to join us with all of our guests this week. We've had a total blast and really have enjoyed talking with everyone and sharing everybody's wonderful ideas. So I want to be sure and remind you to go to Hamill. Let's see, let me put my glass on. Hamill.fineartstudioonline.com, HAMILL, and then follow Scott on Instagram at Scott Hamill Art on Instagram. And Eric's asked me to please give everyone a gift. So if you would like to download the free ebook, 201 Essential Plein Air Painting Tips. Hey, Scott's got to be in there somewhere, right? Or maybe there's a pointer for me. I'm not sure. Go to pleinairmagazine.com/ebook. So that's been 5 giveaways today. That's this week. So that's been exciting. Thank you, Eric. And if you haven't signed up for Plein Air Live, you want to do that. It's coming right up. It's November 5th. Well, it's actually 6th through the 8th. But the 5th is the Essentials Day, where you can really like get all ready to go and learn some basics before you get started to listen and participate. You can sign up at pleinairlive.com. So that's one that's online. So you don't even have to leave your studio. And then don't forget to subscribe to this channel, which is at Art School Live on YouTube and at Eric Rhodes on Instagram. So you want to be sure and follow Eric. And if you would also follow me on Instagram, because now I'm at 19,900. I only need 100 more to finally get to 20K. So please go follow me on Instagram if you would at Debra Huse Art. And that's DebraHuse and DebraHuse.com for my website, paintlikeaPro.us, and follow. And so, oh yes, 𝗕𝗫 will show you my Impressionism and Impressionistic brushwork videos on PaintTube TV. That was so fun because they came to California this time and interviewed me and filmed me painting. And we got to go out on the boat and go all over the harbor. And it was quite an experience and really wonderful. So I hope you'll enjoy watching that. So thank you, Eric Rhodes, for letting me host. And thank you, 𝗕𝗫, for your support. And thank you all for coming to visit me in my studio here in Southern California. And have a wonderful weekend. And we'll see you online next week. Thanks for tuning in.